Okay, this is Prophet Rawa. Good to be with you again. I'm on fire today. I'm on fire. And what we're going to talk about today is the secret religion of slaves. I'm going to bring some fiery content. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be some hot content. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. Okay? If you are the faint of heart, check out right now. Don't even watch this video, please. I'm praying that you don't watch this video. This ain't for you. If you one of those cuddle bugs, you come to the wrong place. You want to cuddle bug with your enemies and stuff, and love your enemies and all that stuff in a way that the Bible doesn't even express. Please check out of here. If you define the love of Christ is as loving the people that's trying to kill you, this ain't you got the wrong one. This is not the right one for you. You check, please, please, please. I'm warning you. This is a warning. Please check out. This ain't for you. Everything is not for everybody, okay? This ain't for you. Just scuttlebutt right on out of here. This really ain't for you. This fire I'm about to bring is probably going to kill your soul, kill your spirit. I'm telling you. I'm warning you. I'm telling you. I'm warning you. Don't come here, because the gospel I'm about to lay down. The gospel I'm about to lay down is for those who are of full age. Okay, I'm just trying to warn you. Get out. You know the movie Get Out? Well, I'm trying to let you know, get out now. Get out. Don't stick around. Don't be curious. No, this ain't for you. Your spirit can't handle this. Cause I'm about to be a juggernaut up in this place. Okay? Now I warned you. Anything that happens after this is your fault. Hey, ooh, wee. I'm telling you, I don't want any unnecessary carnage. I don't want no roadkill. I'm trying to help you here. I'm giving you adequate and ample warning. Don't come here. If you got that spirit of you gotta love everybody, especially your enemies. This ain't for you. Please, this ain't for you. Especially your enemies that's trying to kill you. Just because you have enemies don't mean they always trying to kill you. And that's something black people don't understand. They see that scripture where it says love your enemy. It don't say love the people that's trying to kill you. But that's the way black people interpret it. Why? Because we were slaves. And that's what slave masters taught. And so black people think that actually is the gospel. If you can't love the person that's breaking in your house trying to rape your wife and daughter, that means you're not loving your enemies and you breaking the commandments, statutes, and laws. No, 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 no. I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to warn people. I'm just trying to, I'm get out the way. Scratching. Okay, I'm trying to help y'all. Okay. Now, I gave the preamble for my warning. Okay. I think I've done sufficient job in warning people. If I haven't, just let me know. Just let me know. Now, where's this thing at? I'm looking for my Google Hangout page. Okay, I'm trying to get to the chat room and I can't get there. Okay, let's click on this then. Let's click on that. Okay, there it is. All right. I'm almost there. One more click and I'm at the chat room. And I can see if anybody's chatting. Okay. We good now. All right. Let me drop this heat. I have a link in the description bar. Okay. I have a link in the description bar where you can, man, this is a good read. Man, this is a good read. You got to read this article. And I would even suggest that you subscribe to the paper so you can read the whole article. You can't read the whole article just by going to the link that I have subscribed. It's quite a lengthy article. The part that they did sample is quite lengthy itself. But to read the whole article in its entirety, what you have to do is you have to subscribe to this thing. And the article is so well written, it's so erudite, it is so concise, it is so much factual. In spirit, you got to read the rest of the article because it really gives you a bird's eye view of the history that our people have being in this country under the rubric of the secret religion of slaves. Boy, this man, when a spiritual person read this article, boy, the Most High really speaks. Not necessarily the author, but you hear the voice of the Most High when you read this article. I'm dropping spiritual stuff. Now, a lot of people's not going to be able to get that. They're not going to get it. I'm talking about spiritual concepts. So what I want to do, I'm going to go back into this article, and the link for the article is viewed in the description. Okay. It's in the description on my page. And you should be able to see it in highlighted in light blue. And one of the words in it is ChristianityToday.com. Very fascinating article. And apparently they had wrote these articles in lieu of, they posted these articles in lieu of Black History Month. Very fascinating read. Very content rich information inside of this article. It's just fascinating. When I went to go get my dialysis treatment, I spent the whole time reading the article. I took my time and read the article. I didn't try to blast through it because it was just too many names he was dropping, too much history he was dropping. And some of the things I was Googling some of the information and the facts that were in the story just to get a wider view of actually what he was talking about. So now the parts of the article that I'm about to read, if you are not a subscriber, and I'm not hawking for these people, if you're not a subscriber to their newsletter, it's no way you can read the article. This is like an additional content that is in the article. Okay. So without further ado, let me get right into the article. Okay. Now, if you subscribe to this channel, The parts that I'm reading is like halfway through it. Okay, halfway through it. Let me go up to one of the headings. I'm reading under the heading that is called "Failure of White Christianity." Now, I don't know the let me see. I'm going to get the name of the gentleman that wrote this article because I'm wondering, is he an Israelite or is he other? So I'm going to Google his name right now. That's something I didn't do. His name is Albert J. Robintu. It don't sound like this is a brother. Don't sound like it, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to click on his name and I'm going to see, I just want to see his ethnicity. Okay, for some reason, I'm Googling his name and I'm drawing blanks. Okay, so what I'm going to do, that didn't work. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to copy his name. It looked like they got some good articles on their archives for Black History Month. One of the articles, I'm just perusing it right now. My eyes just fell upon some of the titles. And one of the titles is Defeating God's Avenging Scourge. And the famed prophet Nat Turner, yeah, prophet, I call him prophet. That guy was a prophet, okay? Uh, the famed prophet Nat Turner, the slave revolt that he initiated and spearheaded, it was called and styled God's Avenging Scourge by himself. Okay? That I can't wait to read that. That was written by a guy named Vincent Harding. Okay? Uh they have another interesting article here concerning uh Henry McNeil Turner, who was a bishop and theologian, a politician, and public speaker. And that is written by Andrea E. Johnson. That seems fascinating, looking at the illustrious life that McNeil Turner led as uh, a theologian and public speaker. Now, these are names that are not going to be thrown around during Black History Month by our people, but this Christian website called Christianity Today, they talk about these type of things. And so, but anyway, I don't want to get too deep. Let me see. I want to copy this name here, and then I'm going to go to Google's search engine and put it in because it didn't work the other way by clicking on the name. So I'm going to just post the name in the search engine directly into Google search engine. And okay, let's see what's going on here. Paste. Now I've never seen this happen before. Okay, I'm going to type his name then. I'm going to type his name because that's not working. I wonder why this won't let me post this and paste this name in here. Let me try this. I want to try a little trick here. Okay, it let me paste it that time. What is this? Boy, I'm having a heck of a time trying to post this guy's name in the search engine. I've never seen this type of problem in my life. Okay, delete. I've never seen this type of problem putting anything in the search engine. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, but it's just interesting. Oh man, I messed up. I can't believe I'm having a hard time just posting the name in the search engine. I can't believe this. This is this is astonishing. Okay, I got the name. Now I'm gonna click on it. Okay. Okay, he's a brother. He looked like a brother. Let me just say that. He looks like a brother. On one of his pictures, he looked like a black Albert Einstein. He looked like a brother. Okay. So I would like to see some of his talks. I would like to put him in YouTube and see if he have any videos. I mean, this guy is very erudite and prolific. Not only in his understanding of how to write, but also in his view of history. Really interesting. But yet he's a Christian. So, but there's grace. There's grace. There's grace. I was a Christian, so there's grace. But I'm going to get on with this article here. Okay, I'm going to start beginning this article here. Okay, I'm going to read this to you in your hearing because if you're not a subscriber, you can't even see this article in the link that I posted. This is a continuation of what is posted in the link. Failure of white Christianity is what I'm reading. So if you do subscribe, you can scroll down. It's like halfway through the article on the actual website that you can only access if you're a subscriber. And it's entitled Failure of White Christianity. Now listen to this. Now this is now think about this, y'all. This is an article inside of a magazine, an online magazine journal called ChristianityToday.com. Now, you got to take that in. That's not something you can pass over. So when I started reading the content of this article, you're going to have to say to yourself, what really is going on? What's really going on? Now watch this. The gospel presented to slaves. Now this is I'm suspecting it's a white journal. Okay. And if it's not white for no other reason, even if the editor is black and the owner is black, just because it's called Christianity Today, I'm going to stamp it with the rubric of a white geared journal. Now, listen to this. The gospel presented to slaves by white owners, however, was only partial gospel. I don't like that. I don't like them saying, this guy saying partial gospel, because that's a misnomer. Either you got the gospel or you don't. Either you have the progressive gospel that Israelites have or you don't. So I take issue with saying that your slave master styling what they gave us as a partial gospel. I take issue with that, but let me read. The gospel presented to slaves by white owners, however, was only a partial gospel. The message of salvation by grace, the joy of faith, and the hope of heaven were all there. How could all those things be there? And you got people lynching, killing, raping, and selling your mama and daddy. Now, this was written by a brother. This is written by a brother. He actually penned these words. I'm reading it word for word, verbatim. The message of salvation by grace, the joy of faith, and the hope of heaven were all there. Really, brother? But many other teachings were missing. Wow. What didn't the Bible say something about if you offend in one point, you offend in all? How are you going to say that grace, faith, and heaven were all there in the gospel message, but the people were slaves? Chattel slavery on top of that. Not indentured slaves, but chattel slaves who were looked upon and are looked upon as less than human. Now, a brother wrote this, y'all. I'm not making stuff up. House servants sneered and laughed among themselves when summoned to family prayer, because the master or mistress would read, "Servants, obey your masters." Coons love that scripture. But neglected passages that said, "Break every yoke and let the oppressed go free." Oh, you better preach, brother. You better preach. I can't really say that this guy's preaching. I'm preaching, because he got this idea that grace was offered to slaves, faith, real faith was offered to slaves, and hope of heaven were really offered to slaves, but their children were being sold. They were being hanged. They were being becoming turned into amputees. I can't. I see. It's a little coon. It's a little soft toe cooning up in here. A little soft shoe cooning that this Albert J. Robinty is giving. Well, and he has to give it, y'all. Why? Because he don't know he's an Israelite. Or either he's not an Israelite at all. I don't think all black people are Israelites. I don't think all people that came over here on slave ships are Israelites. When I say Israelites, I mean spiritual Israelites. They're not. A lot of our people, even in our own families, brothers and sisters, guess what? They are Esau, just as much as Esau was the brother of Jacob. Okay. Good. I'm glad we got that cleared up. I'm breaking this thing down. Like you would never hear a One West break this down. They would never break this down. They can. House servants often sneered. House slaves often sneered and laughed among themselves when summoned to family prayers because the master or mistress would read, "Servants, obey your master," but neglect passages that said, "Break every yoke and let the oppressed go free." Well, if you're omitting key passages that liberate other people and give them even more grace, and that is conducive for them building their faith and their hope of heaven, you're not giving them the gospel. One white evangelist to slaves, John Dixon Long, admitted his frustration. They hear ministers denouncing them for stealing the white man's grain. But as they never hear the white man denounced for holding them in bondage. Boy, you better preach. Y'all, we got these same type of people today. You got so-called black people who are descendants of slaves. Now, I'm not promoting just going out and just stealing from Walmart. But all the things that they hold from us, if we steal them, you have black people that jump up and condemn you. I think there should be a more graceful approach to dealing with these people that do drug drug transactions, chemical dependency transactions, theft, larceny, home invasions. I think a more graceful approach should be done when we're dealing with our own people. We shouldn't be looking for white daddy to be more gracious. There should never be a time when white daddy is more gracious to us. Let me say, for the most part, there should never be a time when white daddy is being more gracious to the criminal element that's among our people than we are. I'm just saying, y'all. Are there exceptions? Yeah, but as a rule, okay? One white evangelist to slaves, John Dixon Long, admitted his frustration. They hear ministers denouncing them for stealing the white man's grain. But as they never hear the white man denounced for holding them in bondage. Oh, you better preach. Pocketing their wages or selling their wives and children to the brutal traders of the far south. They naturally suspect, I think it's more than nature, because this says they naturally suspect, but I would reword this. They spiritually suspect the gospel to be a cheat. Not the gospel that the Most High actually has in the Bible for the Israelites. He's not saying that that's a cheat. He's saying that the gospel of white supremacy Christianity is, in fact, a wholesale cheat, and it is. And believers and believe the preachers and slaveholders are in a conspiracy against them. Oh boy, they drop it. But this brother, see, every now and then, people that's not in the truth, they be dropping some facts, okay? They be dropping some bombs. And what I just read was a bomb there, because my mind runs wild with that as a critical thinker, a critical spiritual thinker. They naturally suspect that the gospel that the slave masters are holding forth towards the slave to be a cheat, and believe the preachers and slave holders are in a conspiracy against them. Well, the reason why they believe that is because the Ruach was telling them that. The institutional church in both North and South had long before deserted the slaves. Y'all heard that? Not just the states that succeeded from the North, not just the states that succeeded from the Union, but it says the institutional church in both the North and South had long before deserted the slaves. So you always have to look at white Christians with an evil eye based on the propensity of their history, the predisposition of their history with us. You have to. This says the North and the South had long before deserted the slaves. In other words, go to hell. The institutional churches that were ran by white supremacy during chattel slavery did not believe that black people had souls. I'm dropping knowledge. I'm dropping knowledge. Hence, they don't need salvation. Even the Methodists, who early on insisted that slave owners, upon their conversion, free their slaves. Now, I look at that with a great degree of suspicion. I mean, who started the Methodist Church? Was it John Calvin? I can't remember. I think John Calvin is the one who started the Methodist Church. I'll Google it right now. Who was the father of the Methodist? John Wesley. Okay, my bad. John Wesley. Okay. John Wesley is the one that started the Methodist denomination. So I look at Methodists coming out in favor of slaves being evangelized. I look at that with a great deal of skepticism, because there were many Methodists that were slave holders. If for no other reason, they were slave holders. So you really have to look at what type of gospel was they really bringing. Was it the gospel of I will bless those that bless thee and curse these that curse thee? No, it wasn't. So I look at this as a calculated step in the Methodist denomination coming out ahead of all the other denominations. I look at this as calculated steps to get in front of what was going to take place, what was inevitable. That's just how white institutions operate. Not all white people, but certainly white institutions like banks, schools, churches, any liturgical organization that's started by white people, even today, is there to subjugate us. But our people don't get that. because they just love Jesus. They just love white Jesus. So even the Methodists, who early on insisted that slave owners, upon their conversion, free their slaves. But by 1804, and I wonder how many Methodist slaveholders really let go of their slaves. I bet you none of them. So I sense the hypocrisy in this already. The General Conference agreed to let Methodist societies in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee allow their members to buy and sell slaves. See what I'm saying? And in 1808, the annual conference of the Methodist Church authorized each conference to determine its own regulation by slaveholding. You see that? You see that? See how they maneuver? See how white people maneuver? They'll pass a referendum or whatever that, oh yeah, Methodists should abolish slavery, but do it at your own discretion. In other words, they were not going to disfellowship any conference for harboring slaveholders in their congregation. You know why? Can you say money? Can you say the word money? That would be a hit to the tithe and offerings if you start a witch hunt in your denomination. Towards those that are slave holders and are high tithers and high offering givers. You see? So this is the reason why they did this. This is reason why they did this. This was at the discretion of local conferences. This is how white people operate in institutions that are designed to enslave us. Now, the way that this guy has written this article, I'm going to get into his mind, his heart. The way he has written this, it's like he really is caping for white supremacy in the visages of Christianity. He really is, y'all. I could just look at the way this is written. And this is a brother that wrote this. And in 1808, the annual conference of the Methodist Church authorized each conference to determine its own regulations about slaveholding. Yeah, because they didn't want to cause a rift in the denomination. Nothing would start a spinoff denomination faster than condemning slaveholding and holding as an incentive against it membership in the Methodist denomination. After Denmark Vesey and his fellow conspirators, many of whom were Methodists, were arrested, Southern clergy felt constrained by public opinion to affirm the racial status quo. Baptists and Episcopalians in Charleston denied any intention of interfering with slaves. By the early 1800s, the Southern churches had completely folded on the issue. In other words, the gospel shouldn't be given to you niggas. Let me just put it blunt. Let me just put it blunt. Let's be for real. The southern states that succeeded from the north, they basically said in their action, niggas shouldn't have the Bible. They shouldn't have a God that they serve. And guess what? The South is called what? The Bible Belt? Oh boy, I'm dropping heat tonight. Good grief. So look at this. I'm gonna keep going on here. I'm reading the article. After Denmark Vesey and his fellow conspirators, many of whom were Methodists, were arrested, Southern clergy felt constrained by public opinion to affirm the racial status quo. Baptists and Episcopalians in Charleston denied any intentions of interfering with slavery. You see the back and forth stuff? They want to give you salvation, but we're not interfering with slavery. We want to give black people the gospel, but no, we're not interfering with slavery. You see the double talk? You see the hypocrisy? By the early 1800s, the Southern churches had completely folded on the issue. In instance after instance, recorded in the countless slave narratives, the conversion of masters made matters worse for slaves. Now, listen to this. There's a deep historical context for the way that so-called black people worship today. Listen, don't miss me here. The conversion of masters made matters worse for slaves. Oh, what about love everybody? Because that's what white people taught black people. Yeah, just love everybody. Don't hate in your heart. Just love and buck your eyes and do the little shuffle. The you name it shuffle for white daddy. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Now, black people is the only people that teach with passion, love everybody. White people even today don't teach that unless you're talking about not loving them for the atrocities that they have done. That's the only time that white people really go gun-ho for love everybody. They stab you in the back and then say, love everybody. In the name of white Jesus, love everybody. God ain't no color. Y'all, please don't fall for the okie doke. I'm trying to help you save your families. It's the religion of demons that these guys are teaching. So it says here, after Denmark, okay, I read that. Baptist and Episcopalian in Charleston denied any intention of interfering with slavery. By the 1800s, the Southern churches had completely folded on the issue. In instance after instance, recorded in countless slave narratives, the conversion of masters made matters worse for slaves. You think you're going to get some type of reprieve because, okay, we both love the same God. He's the same color. Love me, massa. It makes things worse for you, Negro. Stop coning for white daddy who's a Christian. Stop it. They hate you. When they become Christians, they become more fundamentalist in their racist views. But our people just don't understand that. Oh, you a Christian? I'm a Christian. Oh, we got a lot in common. You ain't got nothing in common. You possessed with the devil for even thinking that. He's a slave master. You a slave. He's selling your children, and you're not selling his. And you're gonna say, "Oh, we got a lot of stuff in common." Just shut your mouth. Okay, let me calm down a little bit. Y'all can tell I'm passionate about this. In instance after instance, recorded in countless slave narratives, the conversion of masters made matters worse for slaves. As ex-slaves, as ex-slave Mrs. Joseph Smith explained it. The non-religious owner simply gave slaves Sunday off and ignored them the entire day. But Christian owners, eager for sanctification of their charges, could not let Sunday pass without due vigilance. As Smith explained, now somebody that has got common sense knows that Sunday is a day of rest. And if you do the least things in the world, they, the owners, don't like. They will mark it down against you. And on Monday, you have to go, you have got to take a whipping. You see this? This is white supremacy, y'all. This is how you know Christian. Y'all, I'm reading this from a website that's called Christianity Today. This is written by a so-called African American guy caping on the sly for white daddy who's a Christian. Now, that doesn't mean he don't have any pertinent information in these articles. This guy's dropping some knowledge, but that coon spirit is right up in there. That coon spirit is in his spirit. I can just tell by the way this article is written. It's well written. And the reason why the coon spirit has to exist in this guy, because he's a Christian. But see, I'm reading this to you as a Hebrew Israelite. So I could navigate all the minefields and all the mind play that this guy is wittingly or unwittingly laying down with power. I know how to navigate around that stuff. Okay, so, but Christian owners, eager for sanctification of their charges, could not let Sunday pass without due vigilance. As Smith explained, now everybody that has got common sense knows that Sunday is a day of rest. And if you do the least things in the world, the owner don't like it, they will mark it down against you, and on Monday you have to take a whipping. Listen to that, y'all. Oh, they'll let you go on Sunday. They wouldn't beat you on Sunday. The real now this is the real super spiritual liberal slaveholder. Don't think, y'all, we don't have liberal slaveholders today. If you are a so-called African American, the white person you work for, 99.9 out of 100, guess what he is? He's a liberal slaveholder. No, he won't whoop you on Sunday. He's just going to write it down and whoop you on Monday. He's not going to whoop you on the Lord's Day. And when I see this dynamic, looked upon with favor by slaves, I make a note of that. I make a mental note. Okay, we got a little coon spirit running loose over here. How am I a coon, brother? How am I a coon? They won't whoop us on Sunday. They'll whoop us on Monday. That's a blessing, brother. That's a blessing from the Most High. The hell if it is. Please. I don't want to get a whooping on Sunday or Monday. But when you got a coon spirit, that Kundalini spirit, When you got that Kundalini spirit, guess what you do? Master did whoop me on Tuesday. You be like, boy, I'm glad Master did whoop me on Sunday. I'm glad I got to go praise the Lord before I got beat almost to death on Monday. That's a coon spirit, y'all. That is a powerful, strong coon spirit. That spirit exists today, y'all. They give black people Sunday off, and guess what? We praise the Lord for going to church on Sunday and worshiping their God. Wow. Some black people even say that if I don't go to church on Sunday, the Lord's going to punish me. When the day that they ought to be going to church, that the Most High designated. I'm not saying it's the only day you can go to worship, but should be on the Sabbath, not Sunday. Sunday worship ain't nothing but a relic of coon conditioning. That's all it is, y'all. That's not our day. That's their day. Let them have it. I wouldn't even try to convince a white person. I wouldn't even debate with a white person about the Sabbath. If they don't have the spirit of truth in them, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't. I'm like, you good. You good. If they resistant to the fact that I'm an Israelite, I'm not gonna talk to them about no Sabbath. I don't even want to talk to them no more. If they can't concede to the fact that the God of the universe looks like me and you, it ain't nothing else to discuss. These people are idolaters. They worship the image of the beast. So let's keep reading here. In instance, okay, I read that. Some didn't wait until Monday. Listen to this, y'all. Some slave masters didn't wait till Monday. One slave reported that his master served him communion at church in the morning. Oh, boy. And whipped him in the afternoon for returning to the plantation a few minutes late. Wow. This is Christianity. Now, this brother is dropping some knowledge, but he's not cognizant. He's not spiritually cognizant of the type of knowledge and the potency of the knowledge to us as Israelites. He's not. This brother dropping some knowledge. And whoever okayed this article in this this white supremacy website, they must don't think anybody's going to read this. The man that the man that was baptized, the man that baptized me, had a colored woman tied up in his yard to whip when he got home. Got home from when? After church. This is really how white people practice their religion. They'll pray with you in church, serve you communion in church, preach to you in church, and then what they do? They'll go past legislation to marginalize black people in the House and in Congress. And it's so sad and pitiful that our people can't see this kind of stuff. No, Master served me communion. I know he loved me. He got the love of Jesus in his heart. The love of Jesus, love of white Jesus in his heart. He served me communion. Our people are so dumb. We don't know how to peep game before it's too late. We just don't know. And it's so sad and disheartening. Susan Boggs recalled the day of her baptism. Listen to this, y'all. The man that baptized me had a colored woman tied up in his yard to whip when he got home after the baptism. We had to sit and hear him preach. And the woman's mother was in the church hearing him preach. Y'all, imagine that. You're sitting in the house, sitting in the church, listening to some white man preach. And guess what he's about to do? He's going to pass legislation for what am I trying to think of? He's going to go pass legislation on zero tolerance for drugs offenses to marginalize black people and build up the prison industrial complex. And our people are so dumb and stupid. They will actually go to the ballot box and vote for something because they don't know how to peep game. And when I say peep game, they don't have the ruach. Most of our people who are Christians and Hebrew Israelites, they don't know how to peep game. They don't have, and it's because they don't have the ruach that leads and guides them into all truth. They don't have it. We'll go vote for our own demise. It is not difficult to see why Frederick Douglass called slaveholding piety a cold and flinty heart thing, having neither principle of right action nor bowels of compassion. You preach, Frederick Douglass, even though you went and married that white lady in the later years of your life. You preach. No matter what you did in the later years of your life in marrying white mommy, I gotta give you props for what you just said here. They're quoting you said here. It is not difficult to see why Frederick Douglass called slaveholding piety. A cold slaveholding piety. He calls slaveholding piety a cold form, a cold and flinty hearted thing, having neither principle nor right action nor bowels of compassion. That brother dropping heat. You know what? I think that's all I'm going to read. This article is quite lengthy. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Hey, CG, I'm just clicking on over to the chat room and I can see that you've been texting. White Christian church has a home base for white supremacy. They love Trump. We have known friends. We have known friends. What do you mean by that, CG? You got the right. You got that right 100%. They know they have a price to pay. Exactly. And I'm going to say this in closing. The reason why Christianity was begrudgingly offered to Christians is because they knew that in the Bible, it was our book, and they knew it was going to be the mechanism by which we got freed and woke. Don't think that white people today are enamored with black Christians. If they was, they will worship with them. If white people were really enamored and had the love of Jesus Christ in their heart for black people, they would offer loans to the black people who have their tithes and offerings deposited in their banks. They would return it. They would give us reparations. And let me say this, don't get it twisted. I really don't believe in reparations. It's nothing that your enemy can give you for everything that they've done for us, done to us. and against us. It's nothing that they can do. So on that premise, I don't believe in reparation. Now, if they gave it, yeah, I'm going to have my hand out too. But I really don't believe in the principle of reparation. You're not really repairing us if you give us something back that we built and you benefited off of. You're really not giving us nothing back because you enjoyed it too long. And the dearth that exists among us existed way too long for you to pay it back. And for y'all to kill just one Israelite during slavery, the world wouldn't be enough to pay back. If y'all owned the world, it wouldn't be enough. All the gold, the silver, the banks, the schools, the education, anything that you can give us, and even all of y'all lives put together wouldn't be enough to satisfy what you all have done to one Israelite slave. And that's where I have a departure with my uh brothers and sisters who are pro reparation. There's a disconnect in their mind. They think those people can pay us back. If the Most High makes a group of people gods in the earth, priests and kings of the earth, and you go kill them, it's nothing you could pay. The only person that could repair us is the Most High. Now, I just dropped some game there. That was some tight truth I just dropped on you. But anyway, this is Prophet Rawanawabi signing out. Thank you for coming and joining. And I'm going to say shalom. And you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this article all Black History Month. And I'm going to label this Black History, in quotes, Black History Nuggets. So I'm going to be reading from this article. It's a superbly written article. It really is. And it's given me a lot of historical context for this information. If you want to see the article, you can go to the link that I have in the description bar. But that's only half part of it. In order to see the rest of the article, you have to subscribe to their website, and you can see the whole article and follow along with me when I read it in its entirety. So I began in the middle, but the next time I come on, I want to start at the beginning. But anyway, you all take it easy and shalom. Oh, let me say this before you leave. Please share this. Share this teaching, y'all. Share this. Please share it. Share it with as many people as you know, friend and enemies. Just share it. You see? All right. Shalom.